a few minutes. We are currently live on Facebook. We invite you to join and invite people in all the ways you know how. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be starting. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Zoom room. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook. We welcome you to Resiliency Village's Giving Tuesday, a fundraising extravaganza. Today, we will be featuring live music, juggling, dance, storytelling, and a keynote from our very special guest, Patch Adams, as well. We also have some fantastic and incredible prizes from generous local businesses and donors. And even though we couldn't gather in person, it was important that we continue this work, continue the mission and purpose of Resiliency Village. The vision of Resiliency Village is to offer the foothill community's disenfranchised citizens, including homeless, transitional youth, and seniors, a home in an inclusive, self-governing community, which includes direct access to medical, dental, and mental health services, and much more. It's a wonderful vision, an incredible purpose that I'm honored to be a part of. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kevin Axtell. I live here in Sonora in the community, and I am a professional juggler, an entertainer, and fire performer. Many of you have seen me throughout the years in the community, and I will be your MC tonight, your host for the show. And naturally, as a trickster, as a juggler, a magician, a fire performer, I wanted to do a few tricks for you. So I'd like to start off with a quick magic trick. I'm working my way into magic. Most of you know me as a juggler. I do magic too. So nothing up my sleeves. I want you to see nothing in my hands. And I just want to do a trick to point out that even when there is nothing, we can still, through cooperation, effort, focus, and determination, we can create something beautiful. And that's what we're here doing. Even in a challenging situation, we're making something beautiful. Now, of course, as a fire performer at heart, I wanted to do a fire trick as well. I know, here in the house, don't tell my wife, but I have another trick here. This is a fire trick. Now, fire is dangerous. Fire is spicy. It's risky. It's crazy. It's challenging. But fire is also transformative. And with a little effort, something challenging can become something beautiful. Something challenging can become something beautiful. And I point that out because of the theme, the vision today. There are challenging situations, and there are ways to make something beautiful from them. So with that, I do believe we are ready to start the show. Just change my background there. There we are. And I am very excited to introduce sort of our first speaker, one of the founding, the visionaries of the project, and a community a boon to the community, a help, a tremendous hero to the community. Since I was a child living here, he was always there helping. He was always there participating in making the community better. And with that, I would like to feature and introduce to you Mr. Mark Dyken.
Well, thank you, Kevin. That's probably the best introduction I've ever got. I love it, man.
My pleasure.
So, yeah. Are you really that young? No, just kidding. Am I really that old? Maybe is the right question. So thank you so much, everyone, for getting online with us, for contributing early. I don't know what the exact digit is. I haven't checked for a little while, but we are rocking this. And I think we're going to get to our goal, which seemed like a pretty high number, but not for this community when they really have something to get behind. And as Kevin mentioned, our project's been going on for a while, and it kind of came out of just this idea that we can all do something to address a big issue in our community. And if you live in the foothills and haven't heard about our homelessness issues, then perhaps you just aren't paying any attention to any media of any kind, or don't have any conversations with anyone else who lives here, because pretty much everyone has addressed this in some way or heard about it in some way. And what we at Resiliency Village are working on right now is a solution. People can talk about it, people can complain about it, people can have all kinds of opinions about it. But what I really like about working with the crew that we have is that this is a solution-oriented group of people who are working to address the issue in a compassionate way. And Kevin mentioned it, at the heart of what we're working on is healing. Underneath our logo, it says housing, healing, hope, because that's where we want to go. We want to provide housing, but housing by itself isn't going to be quite enough for folks in some of the situations that we know about. And that is where we moved into this healing part, where if we can address the root trauma that pretty much every homeless person has. I spent a lot of time as a homeless liaison for public education, both at Jamestown School and for the Tuolumne County Office of Ed, or the Superintendent's Office. And without question, every time I was working with a homeless family or anybody who was struggling with, say, attendance issues or things like that, there was trauma in that family. There was some kind of unexpressed injury that was really at the root of why people were struggling so much. And then when I or any of us in Resiliency Village go out to visit the camps and listen to the stories, and you're going to hear a couple of stories today, you're going to find out that everybody has suffered in some way. And I'm just reminded that we really have to pay attention to where people are and meet them at that place and offer them what we can, and then watch their healing begin. And right now, I don't know if any of you heard today in the last few days, but homelessness is now being considered a health issue. In the middle of this pandemic, there is a great danger. We're telling people all the time, stay at home, protect yourselves, wear your mask, clean your hands, do everything to socially distance. If you don't have a home, this is now a health issue besides a social issue, besides the pain that you're bearing with your trauma. Homelessness is a health crisis right now, and we're about to experience perhaps the greatest increase in homelessness, I don't know, in the past, could be since the Great Depression, with all of the endings of subsidies and with people now looking at these evictions. So it's just an honor to be here and to be working. And Robert, give me a nod. Do I introduce the rest of the board right now? Yes. Okay. So the first person that I want to introduce is Robert, because he is not only a board member, but the producer of this show. And he's done such a wonderful job, done such an amazing amount of work so that we can have this event. So Robert, take your bow, please.
Hi. I'll be talking to you guys in a minute.
Round of applause, as they say on Zoom. then I see that we have double trouble in one room. So I get both of them at the same time. And I mean that in the best of ways. So I don't know how these screens work, but on my left is our board president, Dr. Brenda Chapman. Give us a wave, Brenda. And on my right would be Shelley Muniz. And Dr. Chapman is our board president. Shelley is our treasurer and secretary, and basically do everything that anyone else can't do. And the three of us are what we call our executive team. We're kind of like the ones who dragged everybody into this and got it started. And it is just my honor and pleasure to work with everyone on this board. And I do want to mention, we have two board members who recently left us, and I don't even know if they're in the audience tonight. They got a whole bunch of things going on, but we wouldn't be where we are today without Aaron O'Hare and Perry Trumbull either. So big thanks to them as well.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And Robert, it's my error. I forgot to pull up my schedule and see what I'm supposed to do next. So
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Thank you.
You're supposed to say it. And here's Robert to tell you how you can donate and help us out.
Okay. And now, so that was, I knew that I was supposed to say, please donate, but now here's Robert to tell you how to do that. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Mark. A very nice overview of what we're up to here. And thank you all of you who are here to join us tonight, both on Facebook and in Zoom. So I'm Robert Gelman, one of the board members, and I want to start by expressing real gratitude for a community that really steps up to help those in need, especially during difficult times. One example of this is the fact that we had made over 50% of our goal for this fundraiser before we even started tonight. So we're all grateful, and we want you to know that your donations really do a lot of good, with virtually all of it going to programs that provide emergency help, when possible, long-term solutions like therapies and job training, not to mention transitional housing, which is key. So these are just some of the ways Resiliency Village will be helping to make life better for our neighbors in need. Now, you know, I heard somebody once say that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that may be true, but it also sometimes drowns those who don't have a boat. Our tiny homes will be lifeboats, and we'll be teaching the residents how to sail them to better times, all with your ongoing help. And speaking of help, this generous community has provided a treasure trove of gifts that we are offering as incentives to motivate you to donate. So we have a lot of great prizes, like hotel stays and gourmet meals and art adventures and much more. So make sure that when you donate online that you include your email address or phone number so we know how to contact you after the event. You might be one of the winners of some of these prizes based on the size of the donation. And even if you think your donation is too small, you could be wrong. So be sure we know how to contact you for a prize when that comes. Now I'm going to share my screen here. Host, I am not a host. I need to be a host or enabled for screen sharing, please, Kevin.
Absolutely. One moment.
All right.
Do-do-do.
We rehearsed this. It worked perfectly.
You should be good to go, my friend.
Okay. So let's see where we are. There we go. A little video feedback for you there. So if you haven't already seen where to donate, just go to our homepage at resiliencyvillage.org. And right on the homepage, you'll see buttons to donate via PayPal or by credit card. You can also send a check to our post office box. You'll find that P.O. box and our phone number and our email address at the bottom of every page on the website. Now, there are other ways you can be supportive, and we encourage you to find them on the site. We have live auctions that continue year-round, and they have many really unique and wonderful items that you cannot find anywhere else. And so you can find that under the How to Help button on our website. There are other ways besides, financial that you can do to help. And here's a page where we have our wish list. And on this page, you'll see services and skills we're looking for, supplies we're needing, and a form that you can fill out to let us know how you might be able to help. And like I mentioned before, at the bottom of every page, our address, phone number, and email address. So you can just drop us an email and let us know how you want to help. We are delighted to have anybody helping who wants to. So that said, I'm now going to switch what I'm sharing, and I'm going to get into the entertainment part of this program. I want to turn it over and let you hear some music from one of our local treasures, Richard Sholer. He's an accomplished musician, performer, guitar maker, and philanthropist. He grew up in the Central Valley during the golden era of the 60s and 70s music, and he was always inspired to play music, and eventually he learned how to build the instruments fantastically. You should check out some of his beautiful guitars at sholerguitars.com, and you should listen to his music when you get a chance, which is right now with his new song titled Snap Out of It. And let's go back to that.
Hi folks, hey, I'm Richard Sholer, and it's an honor and my great privilege to be here on behalf of Resiliency Village on Giving Tuesday. This day is just a reminder that generosity and caring for our neighbors in need is something we could do every day, but especially helpful today. So while I'm singing my new song, and if you'd like to help us out, it would be most appreciated. Just hit that donate button to help us reach our modest goal of $10,000, which is about what it costs to build one tiny home. So here's my new song called Snap Out of It. for listening, folks. Thanks a lot. And, your generosity would be most appreciated. Go to resiliencyvillage.org. And if you would like to hear more of my music, you can go to richardsholer.hearnow.com. Thanks and have a great day.
Yay, Richard! Nice job. All right. Turn it back over to our MC, Kevin.
Such a treat to see Richard. Thank you so much. Another person who I've seen throughout my years in this community growing up, playing music, giving to the community, being a part of the community. So thank you so much to Richard. And welcome to everyone who recently has joined us in the Zoom room. We're 30 people in the Zoom room, another 25 on Facebook. That's a pretty big gathering for the Foothills. Not bad. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being a part of Resiliency Village and our Giving Tuesday celebration and fundraiser, which is leads me to our next segment, which is a tour of the tiny homes, something I've actually gotten really into as I've seen pictures and the way these are used. We live in the mountains. We all know what the conditions are like in the winter, and we do have a in-need population, and they is a variety of ages and conditions, circumstances, all of it, but they are part of our community. And these tiny homes really, truly, I think, as was mentioned earlier, can help get a foothold, offer safe haven, a home. And so, Robert, if you would cue us up, please, for the tiny home tour. And when you're ready, you can share that with us. These are great.
Hello and welcome to Resiliency Village Tiny House Tour, a virtual tour today. But this is what our tiny houses will look like. This one is 12 by 10, I believe, with a porch on the front. Come on in. You can see this little bit of space makes a pretty good living arrangement for. Could be one person, could be a couple, could even be a small family, because that futon that you just looked at folds out into a bed. We have a loft up there that's a good sleeping space. And you could even sleep a child on this side over here. So you have two lofts. So you can house a small family in here. It's light and airy. It also features a small kitchenette. This one's not plumbed yet. The house is not fully operational, but a sink, a 2-burner stove, some storage space, and a small refrigerator. And then what's behind the curtain, you might ask? Well, it's a small bathroom, a toilet, and a shower. So a resident would have their own private space for all of that sort of thing. A desk to do your homework on. I think it's a cozy little spot. In fact, I'm thinking of moving in.
Looking cozy, Mark, looking cozy. We know where to find him. All right. Now, I know that we already met the board, but on my schedule here is just some quick introductions from Mark for the board again, especially since many people have just joined us, and get a few words from the incredible people behind this heartwarming project. You want to take us through the board again, Mark?
Sure, and thanks again, Kevin. It is really great to have you here. You do such a good job at this. So I'll go in reverse order today for those of you who haven't heard. So I'm Mark Dyken. I'm the executive director and original board member, and then they kicked me off because I was so hard to work with. So they wanted to be my boss instead of a fellow board member. No, seriously, I love these people. So we'll start with the president of the board this time, Dr. Brenda Chapman. And I was really fortunate to have Brenda as my boss in a previous lifetime. For several years. We worked together at Jamestown School, and that's where we both really got turned on to trauma. Maybe Brenda, you could just say a word about what we did there.
Well, we worked at Jamestown School District, and Mark and I started a trauma-informed practice at Jamestown School. We realized that our students and their families had experienced a lot of trauma, and we wanted to see if we could change the paradigm about how people interacted and worked with people who have had trauma. So I think the thing that's really got to me was when Mark said that instead of asking, why are you behaving like this? He said, we turn that around and say, well, what's happened to you? And I think that made the huge difference in me and how I felt about people who were experiencing trauma and not taking it seriously. I didn't mean seriously, I meant personally, that it wasn't about their reaction to me, but their reaction to what they'd been through. So it was a very successful program and it's still going today. And Mark has taken that training across the whole Tuolumne County, as well as to other counties surrounding us. It's been really valuable and good work.
Yeah, and probably one of my happiest moments in all of that work was when our attendance rates started to really improve, and when we got to below 5% absentee rate for a while there. And I know that our work was successful in that way. So sitting right next to Dr. Chapman is Shelley Muniz. And I've been really fortunate to spend time with Shelley, not only as a board member here and working on this project, but Shelley and I just returned from Arizona and we were safe as can be. I'll just let you know that. And for the last, has it been 4 or 5 years now, Shelley's been going with us on our annual trip down to see our friends and adopted relatives on the Navajo reservation. When you want to talk about trauma and you want to talk about addressing income disparities and housing issues and everything, that's someplace where you can really see the different worlds in America together. Shelley is also an accomplished author and was the librarian over at Columbia College. And Shelley, you know a little bit about trauma too, don't you?
Yeah, I have some personal experience, and I can say clear back, I worked at Bellevue School before I worked at Columbia College, and so worked with and loved a lot of children in that school, and really saw the result of trauma and how it affected kids a long time ago. It didn't have the name that we use now, and all the things that Mark has done as far as trauma-informed care didn't have those expressions back then, but you certainly saw it in the kids. And I worked in a library back then, and a lot of those kids would come to my space in the library for quiet time and for a little bit of help. And so what we saw back then with kids and what we see now with kids has been a real kind of an eye-opener, as far as like when we go into the homeless camps here in our area too, because when we start talking to kids, we find out, or talking to the people in the camps, we find out that, that they've all experienced trauma of one form or another in their lives, a lot of times going back to their childhood experiences. And so the stories that we've heard really helped us come together as a group and as an executive team to start Resiliency Village. Really, it all comes back to that. It comes back to trauma and the experiences that we've had in our lifetime, but also what we've seen and felt from other people that we've met, children all the way to adults.
Thanks, Shelley. And then the last member of our board who is here with us right now, Robert Gelman, who's also the producer of the show and an accomplished entrepreneur. And maybe my favorite part of Robert's vast resume is his time with Cirque du Soleil. And we are both drummers, and you know what they say about drummers.
What?
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me.
They can't be.
I'll tell you, they can leave the drumsticks on the dashboard of their car and park in a handicapped spot, and no one will bother them.
Oh, yeah. That's one I hadn't heard yet, Mark. Well, I think you've already heard enough about me. So what I would like to do is let a couple members of the community speak for themselves. Mark and Shelley were out in one of the camps recently and had conversations with a couple of wonderful people who shared about what it's like to be part of the homeless community. So let me pull that up.
Today, we came out to Camp Hope.
I want to introduce you to Emmanuel Eric Rupe. And how long have you lived out here, Rupe?
It's been almost 2 years, and a friend of mine allows me to rent her van, and that's what I stay in. And other people live in tents, cars, trailers, or they build something. Somebody like Deborah has built a real nice
That's quite a place she has up there.
And she works on it, and people come and help. And they're all industrious people that have run into a different problem.
Yeah, and everybody out here's got needs like everyone else does. It's not really.
We all eat.
Right?
We all got to stay warm. I'm lucky. I got 3 cats.
Organic
It's not a 3-dog night. It's a 3-cat night.
There you go.
Let me tell you.
You've led a very interesting life. Let me talk about some of like your education and some of your work history.
Well, I went to Bethany Bible College, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree in hermeneutics, the art and science of interpreting ancient languages. I went to Bethany, and I learned how to read Hebrew and Koinonia Greek and Aramaic, but I had to study it a lot after I got out of college. And then I studied Egyptian hieroglyphics, Coptic, Enochian, and some other things. And so I have a broad understanding of how to translate languages. Then I went on and got a master's in psychology from the University of San Francisco, and these people are doing the same thing. They got graduate degrees in her.
Watching this, what is something that you would want people to know about what it's like to live here, and how we can make this better? What can move everyone here forward?
You know what really needs to happen? We need like a micro village. We need places where people don't have to have their tent collapse. They don't have to be wiped out by a snowstorm. I mean, if you have a tent, when it rains, the water comes to the bottom. You don't escape it just by being in your tent. This is here. Sometimes they just have to sit out here, and they have nothing but the clothes and everything that are soaked. And when it freezes, believe me, if you haven't got a dog or you ain't hugging but somebody, it's wonderful. A man right over there, Mr. Thurman, he works on cars, he works on bicycles, he works on tricycles, he works on anything to help anybody. Somebody's car can break down here, and he'll be the first person that romps over here and can jerry-rig something to get it going.
So there's a lot of skill in this camp.
There are people with knowledge, and they are more than willing to share. They want people to care about them. And I never use men, but I hear people telling me that it keeps them warm at night. I'd rather see them have a warm blanket, some hand warmers, and a good meal.
I just want to thank Rupe for taking some time, and thank you for watching this, and hopefully you learned something. And like we've been saying all day, take this time to contribute. Take this time to help out. Thank you. All right, well, we're in another part of Camp Hope, and we're visiting here with our friend Shawna. Shawna, how long have you been out here?
Off and on for 3 years.
Off and on for 3 years. And how did you wind up being out here?
My medical problems caused me not to have a job and not to be able to afford my place.
So medical issues can be a reason why someone no longer has a home. And then what happens once you stay outside for a while? What happens?
It becomes a way of life, I guess. You get used to it. I mean, it sucks. I don't like it out here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And people can fall into like alcohol and drugs for, comfort and to cope with it. So I've had hernia problems, and my intestines have come out of my stomach, and I've almost died twice in the past 2 years because of my medical issues. Well, 3 years. Seems like almost every October I'm in the hospital for 6 months, but I didn't go this time. I only went for 4 days.
All right, that's an improvement.
Yeah.
And certainly it would be better for you if you were staying in a tiny house somewhere and be able to take better care of yourself.
Yeah, and keep my wounds clean anyways. Yeah.
About what it's really like and who really lives out there.
Well, there's decent people that are out here. I mean, people that are so good, and people that don't, aren't bad, I mean, everybody has good qualities. Not everybody's the same. I mean, you can't judge one homeless person's actions on all of them, because not everybody's that way.
Right. And what would be most helpful to you?
A place to stay.
Nothing cures homelessness like a house, right?
No.
Beautiful. Well, thanks. I don't want to keep you out here on your feet for too long, but
yeah.
There you go. My friend Shawna.
Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you for heading out there and seeing it and hearing our community members and hearing directly from them. Thank you, Mark, for going out there to get that video. And thank you to everyone here, both in the Zoom room and on the Facebook chat. Please check out the resiliencyvillage.org website to learn more about this incredible project, to take part in helping, in assisting, in aiding our community members. And so we're going to continue the show along with being a fundraiser. This is, I want to highlight the fun in the fundraiser. This is also for spreading joy and entertainment. And with that in mind, we are now going to head to some music. Speaking of community members and bands that I've heard growing up here since a young fella, a young go-getter, Clan Dyken is absolutely one of those bands. We have some music now from Clan Dyken. Sit back and enjoy local talent.
We sailed out of the Golden Gate on the good ship Starfinder, a 36-foot cutter-rigged sloop. A 100 miles offshore, full moon, night watch. I stood up at the bow just to take in the view. And with there I saw the ancient ever becoming new. Some call her water, but she's older than all names. Many things have come and gone on this earth. Water remains. Behold the beauty of the water, mother of all life. the vast expanse of liquid, undulating in the moonlight. Behold the great power of the water. Alive, she breathes her motion poem. The elegant intelligence of the water, whose face cannot be known. She is our tears, she is our blood. She is the rain that animates the mud. She is the river, she is the lake. She is the cloud and the ocean gray. She is the ice, she is the snow. She is the ebb, she is the flow. From where life comes to where it goes. Water, the deepness of the water. Water, the deepness of the water. Inside of us, guiding us to that far distant shore where we've been headed all along. She is older and wiser. She sees the big picture. Water, water. Deepness of the water, water, deepness of the deepness of the water, reverence for the water, water, respect for the water, 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 water.
Fantastic. Ooh, this is the Zoom applause, the ASL applause. Show some support in the video for the soulful clan Dyken. So much local talent, truly. In a moment, we'll be sharing some more of that local talent with you. But I just want to remind everyone that coming up soon, our keynote presentation, our guest speaker, Patch Adams, will be joining us. And he's here in the Zoom room. We're so excited to have him, but we're also excited to showcase and share some of this local talent for a good cause. As being one of those locally talented people at all the different events and shows, fundraisers, festivals throughout the years in the community, over and over again, it proves absolutely true. There's a lot of talent in the foothills up here, and it's just a joy to get to share some of that with you. So I will introduce our next act as Robert gets ready to play it. Our next performance is from a Tuolumne County mom who has been acting, dancing, and choreographing for decades. She has performed with Disney, touring companies, the Sierra Repertory Theater, and other companies, until the pandemic closed the studio at Tuolumne County Arts, she was teaching jazz and hip hop dance classes there. She's currently doing online classes on Zoom that you can find by contacting Robert G at resiliencyvillage.org. I'll make sure to put all the social media links because she's also up on it for a Foothills person. She's got the TikTok, the Instagram. She's ready. And we'll put those links in the chat for you. So without further ado, a performance by Kelli Brock.
Kevin, before we do that,
yes,
I just want to let people know this isn't such a performance, but it is a tutorial.
Ooh, so they should get ready to dance themselves? Is that right?
Out of your seats, everybody. Get up. Get up, because you're going to learn a dance right now. And I mean it. Every one of you, stand up. All right, here we go. We're going to learn a dance together. All right. Yeah.
Hi there, my name is Kelli and I am here today to teach you guys a short 8-count jazz hip hop routine. It's very simple, so stand up, you don't need a lot of space, and let's wiggle our bones. The first step you're gonna step out with one foot at the same time. Your other arm, your opposite arm, is gonna come up into the air like this. So you have step out one. Now you're gonna take this leg, place it behind your leg, and at the same time, this arm comes down towards the ground. So you have 1, step behind, and 2. Now you're gonna reverse it. Step out with your arm goes up, and point down. So you have step out, step back, step out, step back. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Going on, you're going to step out and your arms come here. And now you're going to kick across your body. At the same time, your arms are crossed like this. So you're here, you have out, kick, out, kick. Let's try that one more time. You're here, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, those counts will be 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll show you. Here we go. You have 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How'd you guys do? Let's do it one more time and then we'll try it with music. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's try with music.
I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. That was fun. I hope you had fun. You can find my tutorials on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram at Kelli Brock Dance. I want to thank the fundraiser and Resiliency Village for having me join you for this fundraiser. I think this is an amazing event and your organization is doing some really amazing things. It's great to be able to help out those most in need in our community, and I really love what you guys are doing. So if anybody out there is able to donate just a little bit, a lot, whatever you can, it would be really appreciated. You can find the donate button on their website and also the Facebook page, Resiliency Village. So thanks again, you guys.
Yay! Thank you so much, Kelli. That was awesome. I didn't realize we were going to be dancing. I wouldn't have worn this nice vest. That was a nice surprise. Actually, it's good to get up and move around. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. We have a little bit more local talent to share with you as we continue on in this wonderful Giving Tuesday extravaganza and fundraiser. Next up, I saw the name and instantly my heart just went, local legend. Storytelling is an art form that has been a huge part of human history and sharing knowledge, inspiration, stories, words of caution, you name it. Humanity has communicated it and passed it on through the years through storytelling. And one of our local treasures who has dedicated her life to this incredible art form and brought so much joy to our community is going to share a story with us now. It's a great honor to get to introduce to you Beezy Smith.
Hi, my name is Beezy Smith. I'm a storyteller in Tuolumne County in the Sierra Nevada of California, not too far from Yosemite National Park. Have you noticed that winter is upon us? Just really right around the corner. I'm looking out the window right now and I can see the wind is blustering today. It's been cold and tonight it will be chilly. We'll probably pull out a spare blanket and put it on the bed. We are so lucky. We live in a cozy little house. There's always a pot of bubbling soup on the stove in the wintertime, just about always anyway. And we're also lucky because we just go get ourselves this big tub that's filled with winter clothes. It's got jackets, sweaters, socks, mittens, hats, everything that we need to be warm and cozy for the winter time. But not everybody is as lucky as we are. Here in Tuolumne County, well over 300 people tonight will be looking for a shelter where they can sleep. They will hope that they have a sleeping bag or at least one decent blanket to keep the cold out. Not all of them will have the socks or the jackets that they need, and many more of them might go to bed without that bubbly hot soup and maybe no food at all. But every single one of those people has a story to tell. Every single one is making a contribution to our community in ways that we don't even know how to measure as yet. I have a story that I would like to share with you, and I hope that it will give you a further glimpse into the life of what it must be like to be homeless in California. The people who wrote this story took the story deeply into their hearts, and I'll share that with you at the end of the story. But for now, please join me for this tale. Colors danced in the morning sky, but not for the man in the doorway. The newspaper boys hurried down the street, tossing newspapers everywhere they went, but not for the man in the doorway. Baristas brewed steamy hot cups of coffee, but not for the man in the doorway. The baker baked sweet loaves of cinnamon bread, but not for the man in the doorway. The man in the doorway had a name, though few people knew. It was Leon John. Leon John drummed boom, boom, taka, 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 boom, pop on his bongos. A cardboard sign rested against his bicycle, his backpack, and his beat-up old boombox. Everybody needs a little change once in a while. Change of habit, change of style, change of a place to live. Leon John's t-shirt and blue jeans needed to be washed. He had no shoes, no socks. Can't get in, have to get by. Tummy is a rumbling, neighbors are a grumbling, sang Leon John. Pop, 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 slap, slap, boom, boom, pop, pop, he drummed. A jogger and his dog veered from their path, far from Leon John. Hey there, hi there, ho there, nice dog, have fun, Leon John sang. Boom, boom, tekka, tekka, boom, boom, pop, pop, he drummed. The barber gave shaves and haircuts, but not for Leon John. Window designers dressed shop windows, but not for Leon John. Boom, boom, tekka, tekka, boom, boom, pop, Leon John drummed. The baker swept his shop's front stoop. Hey, you, he shouted, take that noise somewhere else. Leon John could smell the cinnamon bread and his stomach rumbled, but He packed up his bongos and backpack, his boombox and sign on his bike, and he rolled on down the block. The jogger and his dog were in the park, but this time the jogger scowled at Leon John. "Beat it," he shouted. "You don't belong here. Go back to that doorway where you were sleeping last night." Leon rode past the jogger. He saw some parents and their children in the park, and he saw his friend Rita with her shopping cart. "Hey, Rita, you need some change in your life." Leon wheeled closer and dug down into his pockets. He was hungry, but Rita looked hungrier. From that pocket, he pulled something and he tossed it to Rita. "A quarter," he smiled and grinned. "Ha ha, it's your lucky day." Leon John pedaled to a shady tree. He parked his bike and unpacked his boombox, his sign, and his bongos. "Pop, pop, pop, slap, 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 boom, boom, pop, pop," he drummed. The sound of the music drifted through the park, catching the ears of the children and their parents. Leon John's stomach rumbled and his hand shook, but he drummed and drummed. He drummed. Boom, boom, ticka, ticka, boom, 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 pop, pop, slap, slap, boom, pop, pop, pop. The sound of Leon John's music drifted down the street, too, into the door of the barber shop. "Hey," the barber yelled, leaning out the doorway. "I told you before, don't play that thing around here." But Leon John just kept on. Boom, boom, ticka, ticka, boom, 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 pop, pop. The sound of his music floated through the park, down the street, and into the door of the coffee shop. "Hey, man," the barista shouted, "please keep it down." Boom, boom, ticka, ticka, boom, boom, pop. Leon John drummed. "Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight." As the sun rose higher, Leon John's stomach rumbled and his hand shook, but still he drummed. Alongside the melody rose a sweet and mellow voice. "Hey, I like your music," said a yellow-haired boy. "Bippity-bop," Leon John said to the yellow-haired boy. "What's your name?" "Nicholas, but you can call me Nicky D. I was eating lunch with my mom," and he pointed in his mom's direction. "Well, my sandwich is way too big for me. I thought maybe you'd like to share." Nicky D looked at his mom. She nodded and smiled. "I am a little hungry," said Leon John. Nicky D opened the sandwich and smushed 12 gummy bears inside. "This is the way peanut butter tastes best," he said. Leon John nodded and smiled, and so did Nicky D. Nicky D tore that sandwich in half. "You pick which half," he said. Leon John studied each half, and then he pointed to the one with a green gummy poking out. "This one," he said. "Green is a kiwi, green is a pickle, green is the color of a fickle, hiccups tickle." Nicky D laughed. "What's your name?" he asked as he handed over the sandwich. "Me? Leon John. I have 5 brothers, 2 sisters, 2 children, and 1 grandchild. I am from the state of Wisconsin, but now I live here or there. Change is good, you know." Leon John took a bite of the sandwich and grinned. He rubbed his rumbly stomach. Leon John's tongue stuck to the roof of his mouth and his lips puckered up. "Oh, with gummy bears. Best sandwich I ever had. Skiddly-dee-bop-bop." Tears filled Leon John's eyes. Tears filled Nicky D's eyes. Sometimes I get a little sad," said Leon John. "Sometimes I get a little sad too," said Nicky D. "Ta-da-ta-do," Leon John sang, "Peace," and he signed with his fingers in the shape of a V. "Have fun, skiddly-dee." "Skiddly-dee," said Nicky D, and he skipped back to his mom. Other children watched with their parents. A golden-skinned girl whispered to her dad, and he hugged her. Soon the girl came with a rosy red apple just for Leon John. A dimple-cheeked boy offered a large round orange just to Leon John. A smiley-faced girl dressed in the colors of the rainbow brought a handful of change for Leon John. 2 quarters, 7 dimes, 3 nickels, she said. Leon John, he played that drum, especially for Nicky D. Boom, boom, tekka-tekka, boom, 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 slap, slap, pop, pop. The children sat beside Nicky D, and their parents gathered behind. Boom, boom, tekka-tekka, boom, boom, tekka-tekka, boom, 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 pop, 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 slap, slap, boom, boom, pop, 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 tekka-tekka, tekka-tekka, tekka, slap, slap, pop, pop. Leon John smiled. His stomach didn't rumble, and his hands did not shake. Leon John, he drummed, ba-da-ba-ba, and drummed, and he drummed. The story was written by Shelley Muniz with a whole lot of help and a lot of love from Mark Dyken. This story will soon be in the form of a book that you'll be able to keep on your bookshelf with illustrations by Bear Dyken. The story is inspired by Mark and Bear's brother, whom they love deeply, and I'm sure they still want to hear him playing his drums. Boom, boom, tekka, tekka, boom, boom, pow. Thank you for the chance to share this story with you. Now I hope you will join me, and we will find ways to give what we can, to give from our own hearts a generous offering to help the people of Tuolumne County who are most in need. Thank you.
Yay! Zoom applause for BZ Smith, everyone. Boom, boom, chicka, chicka, boom, boom, pop, woo. Little fun for you there. All right, one more quick video, and then we are on to our special guest. Thank you all so much for staying here. We're just barely over time, but what's a little time when it comes to community and connection? And our next video is from members of the community as well. Now, it's not always people. Part of our community are the businesses, the organizations that exist within the community. I mean, it's an absolutely vital and important part. And one of those great businesses who has been here a long time and is always very supportive comes to us from the Chicken Ranch Band of Miwok Indians. And so without further ado, I give tremendous gratitude to the Chicken Ranch Rancheria. Let's roll the clip from them.
Yeah. Our relationship with Resiliency Village is we started back in January. We partnered up with them, but before that we got some information, sat down with them. I believe it was about November, December of the previous year. And we just started talking and kind of finding out kind of what it was, because you kind of hear at Resiliency Village, wasn't sure quite what it was. So then they started talking about the homeless population and everything else. We're like, okay, kind of what is this? And sitting down and talking with the staff and everything was, mind-blowing. At the same time, was very educational. They were teaching us exactly what it is that they were actually going to do. It wasn't just houses or anything else they were going to do, and just kind of put them off to a side, is helping them deal with the trauma and everything else that is, brought them to the spot where they are right now. And so we really, kind of identified with that and thought it was just absolutely amazing. It's not just putting a Band-Aid over the situation or anything else. It's really trying to help these people out and help them grow and get back into society in any way that they want to be part of. We definitely, thought this was an amazing thing, what these people are doing. So we definitely partnered up with them. On this Giving Tuesday, we would really hope that everyone would kind of take a look and be able to give any amount that they can, $5, $10, $20, whatever it is. Because if you really take a step back and look at this is, one thing can happen and you're in the same boat as a lot of these other people. So, making a small donation now to kind of hope to where you never are there, but if you are, someone else can step up and be able to help out with you to get you back on your feet, because everyone always needs a hand, some part of their life or some stage in their life, someone always needs a little bit of help, and this is just a great way to be able to help out a lot of people that really need it. So thank you.
Once again, tremendous gratitude to the Chicken Ran Branch of Miwok Indians for their tremendous support of this project. All right, up next, we have a quick fire juggling performance from yours truly. It's a pleasure to get to give back to this wonderful community. I grew up here in Sonora and learned the ropes as an entertainer at all of our local events. And so it really brings me great joy to share some of my art with you now. Enjoy. All right. Without further ado, in order to bring on our special guest, I'm going to return us now to Mr. Mark Dyken.
Here we go. Thank you, Kevin. And geez, thank you, Lloyd. That just got me. And Beezy, amazing, with especially the drumming part of that story. She really nailed that. that was beautiful. So I am just ecstatic to introduce to you an amazing healer, activist, teacher, author, and most of all, clown. I mean, this guy's a real clown. And he is one of the happiest people on the planet. And he's been around the planet spreading that joy and been doing that work for, I don't know, 50 years of going around and sharing with people. And I've had the pleasure of being close to where he's working and seeing all kinds of people show up in red noses, you know, just coming out from all kinds of places. Where did you get that nose? Oh, Patch Adams is over here. And the noses, the laughter, the joy, all of that comes with Patch Adams. And I just want him to talk to you about what it means to be truly happy and how that relates to our health. So, Mr. Patch Adams.
Thank you very much. Let me say how I got there. I grew up in a military family outside the US. My father died from war when I was 16, and we moved back to the US, and my life changed forever in a public park at a public drinking fountain where the sign said whites only. And I was 16 and innocent, and I wept and wept. And at first I didn't want to live in this world. I had, at age 17, 3 mental hospitalizations. I didn't want to live in this world. But then at 18, I was present at Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And I went, stupid, you don't kill yourself. You make a love and fun revolution. So I decided in that moment at 18 to never have another bad day. That I was going to be 6 qualities all the time, the rest of my life: happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. And I've been that. I'm now 75, and I've been it uninterruptedly since 18. And it has given me a wonderful life and an exuberant, playful, crazy life. It's made me a free doctor. I've been a free doctor for 50 years. Because I thought medicine was a giving, not a taking. And here's what I want the audience to know. If you want to suffer, suffer. No one has to. I've often said, if you have food and a friend, what are you bitching about? And the truth is, I make me. I decide who I'm going to be and have reasons for that decision in the same way. And you say, oh, no one can do something like that. But no matter how long you live, you decide when you get to a curb, if cars are going like this, you stop. And you stop 100% of the time because you make the decision. And to be happy was that decision for me. And I saw that it brought me unbelievable experiences. To be friendly really is another word for it. And that's really what it's given me, is that I haven't had up and down times, and I've been able to love life. I'm a clown who is a doctor. I started clowning when I was 8 or 9 because I grew up on military bases, and a lot of the sons of military people were manly men. I was not a manly man. And so I found out that they picked on me, but when I was goofy and made them laugh, they didn't hit their fool. Duh. So I became a fool for life. And it's really proven that way. It's why 5 times I've taken clowns into wars because bullets bounce off clowns. That's actually not true. but so far no one's been hurt in those war zones. And so I wonder if this might be a good time for someone to ask a question. Beep, 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 beep. What the hell is that guy talking about, being happy all the time? You know, I like my misery. You know, give me a bad day and, you know, then I can have a shot or two of whiskey.
Hey, Patch, could you talk about how being happy relates to our health overall and why it's so hard to be happy when you don't have a home and when you don't feel love?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm a physician who doesn't believe in mental illness. I think it's a pharmaceutical company diagnosis, that the most prescribed medicines are for depression, and I feel sure that depression is never an illness. It is a symptom of loneliness. How do you know you have a friend? You can't be lonely. You can't be depressed. You think of your friend and whoopee. And so I think that most mental illness comes from a loss of tribal life, which in modern lingo would be called a circle of friends, and really an unfortunate relationship with nature and the arts. How is it, you know, the average American watches 5 hours of TV a day. You know, we don't have a TV. And I don't understand how anyone watches any of that stuff. And what they don't know is you can go climb a tree and sit on a limb and bounce. Or you can watch ants walk around and, whoa, imagine, what are they thinking, those little tiny things? And the more you look at nature, whether it's through great works of scientists who've studied nature or poets who have studied nature and been grateful. I think gratitude is one of the great medicines of life. It's fascinating to me, and again, I would never ever dislike a patient enough to give a psychiatric medicine. When we had a hospital, and I'm now building a free hospital in West Virginia, when we had a hospital, people who were depressed weren't depressed because there was too damn much fun there. Too many friendly people, too much wild and goofy behavior, and so I guess they'd wait till they go home to have a horrible time. And I found out that presence, that if I was present with a person who was miserable, how easy it was to get them somewhere else and away from their misery. And of course, once you open the door to goofiness, that's a huge door. So I normally have a couple of sizes of whoopee cushion on me because farting is the funniest thing on the planet. I've clowned in 82 countries. And, you know, if nothing else works, fart. And you can fake a fart. Am I getting too much? Is everyone over 18? Okay. So, you know, and everyone can fart because you stick your tongue out and go, but it takes a skill to burp. Okay, I'm a professional burper. And, you know, you're in the grocery store line and you see people ignoring each other and all of that. Let out some loud burps and things change. And if you wear underwear on your head, you get tighty whities and you do nothing else. Everything else can be serious. And you put tighty whities on your head and people laugh. There's fake snot. I mean, if you go to a nice gag store, you can hang a long booger from your nose and be in a three-piece suit and look like you've got a PhD. But that booger dominates. And I think it's a hunger, and I can see in these faces how much you're enjoying it, even though, raise your hand if you've hung a booger from your nose. Oh my gosh. All right. No wonder it's called Resiliency Village. So, did I answer that question?
I would say, judging by the smiles and laughter that we have going on and the people that I can see, the answer was perfect. I spoke about it earlier, and I was wondering how you as a physician look at this idea of housing as a health issue, and how important it is for someone to have a place to call home.
You know, some of the most difficult things for me as a physician is, one, loneliness. How is anyone lonely with 7.5 billion people on the planet? And look at how wealth has become the religion of the people in power and the people who own the world. And it is a world where wealth and power over are in charge. And there's no mental health in those two directions. And how is it, you know, if you looked at say a high-rise building and the amount of square footage in a tiny house, a high-rise building with 100 apartments, we could say had 500 tiny houses. But we don't think about that. How is it that we don't? I mean, you all, Resiliency Village is thinking about it. And please, if you are listening to this, please donate to Resiliency Village. That's why I'm here, is I'm hoping that on Giving Tuesday, you'll empty your pockets for people who realize, even though you're in a big spread, a 6-bedroom house with 3,000 square feet, Resiliency Village understands that we'll call it a tiny house, but inside we'll say it's a big palace, because that's what it is. That I saw the tiny houses, and I know other people that make tiny houses, and I thought yours was like, you know, those are damn nice tiny houses. And what is it that makes me think? Let me tell you, I'm building a hospital where 120 staff will live there as a communal eco-village. And that I'm going to trick the people. Everyone will make the same salary, the cleaning person and the surgeon, $400 a month. How are we tricking them into doing that? And that's joyful living and joyful service. So I understand why you get high on Resiliency Village, because you're doing the #1 great thing to do, and that's helping. When you walk down the street and pick up trash, let me give you a kiss. And so when you donate, it's so much different than buying a $500 ring. One is simply wealth around your finger, and the other saves lives and gives life and gives a person a sense that people care about them. And you can't buy that high, really. You can help people doing those great things. Yum. Mm-hmm. Raise your hand if you disagree. So
we're all right there, Patch. Hey, you know, while we got you for a few seconds, can you talk just a little bit more about Gesundheit and how, you know, where that is and you know, how people can get a hold of you on Gesundheit?
Okay, yes. I entered medical school 54 years ago, and I saw nothing right about the practice of medicine. There is all hierarchy of pay, but much more sick was the hierarchy of power, that most of the teachers were arrogant people who bossed people around. I rarely saw doctor-nurse relationships that were equal and friendly. And I saw that hospitals were boring places to be in, and that they were very expensive. And, you know, in 4 years of medical school, I didn't get one lecture on love, not one lecture on joy, and lots of lectures on, you know, gastritis. And so I said, I can't do this. If I'm going to have to be their kind of doctor, I'm going to quit school. But then I thought, wow, you can do it your way. I love the arts and have studied all the arts a long time. And no matter how great one poet is, there's another poet that does completely different poetry that is also great. And so I said, I'm going to make the hospital. So first it had to be free, because caring for people, and I think you don't charge people for their tiny house, do you? Right, exactly. And you could, $100, blah, blah, blah. But for us, I wanted it to be free. Also, I knew that I was trained to be a doctor in 7.8 minutes. You can't know the most boring person in the world in 7.8 minutes. So my initial interview with a patient is 3 or 4 hours long. And since I'm free, I get to do it my way, of course. And there were so many things to discover about people that and that's when I started a commune when I graduated. 20 adults moved into a 6-bedroom house with our children and said we were a hospital. Open 24/7, and we did this 12 years, had 500 to 1,000 people in our home each month with 5 to 50 overnight guests a night. It was heaven. I learned to live on a few hours of sleep, 2 to 5 hours of sleep a night, because I didn't want to miss anything. And you could say, okay, let's play football, and there'd be 10 hands that go up for a football game. Or you put on, we had big dances 3 nights a week, lots of fast Chuck Berry music. And so we did such goofy things. And, you know, we were kind of children of the 60s, if you can get what I'm saying. And so there were all nude times. Shh, everyone's over 18, right? Okay. And it was not a promiscuous commune. It was freedom. And right when I finished medical school, I realized, okay, a person can throw out their back and take a lot of drugs to kill the pain. One chiropractic adjustment can end it. And then, okay, chiropractic was legal, acupuncture was illegal, homeopathy was illegal, Ayurvedic, anthroposophic, faith healing, what the hell is that? And so I hope my language isn't bothering people too much. I mean, I apologize. I have a lot of freedom. You're getting me at 75. I might have been more cautious when I was younger. And so it was a thrill to love people. My longest hug was 12 hours. It was not boring, and it was not sexual. It was friend affection. And I told this person I was going to outlast them. And so, no lectures on wellness. So we learned we cooked our meals, and we cooked good food and became farmers. And you know, for 45 years, I've done yoga, weightlifting, and aerobics. So I can sit on the floor as a man, spread my legs out, and put my face on the floor for a long time. That's 1 in 10,000 people. And yet it's anybody, or most anybody, who takes the time to do it. And so yes, I'm 75. I say I feel 35 because my body has not limited my life.
Well, speaking of feeling young, I know you do a lot of work with children. And can you talk about the importance of being with children and what our presence means to children and how we do this as a community, especially for, again, these unfortunate kids or these kids without homes and places for themselves? What's our level of response or responsibility to them? And how did you come to be so good with kids?
Well, because I'm extremely immature. You know, I
there's hope for me.
There's hope for you. The shirt, I thought your shirt is a damn nice shirt. I've got shirts like that. And I did my yoga right before coming on here, which is why I'm not wearing my shirt. And you can see my pants. That would go with your shirt anytime, as you know. And you know, kids have not been corrupted by money and power over, most of them, until they reach a certain age and they feel the hurt. But it's amazing how happy you can find children in the poorest of ghettos. They're ready to play. That the seduction of money and power over is something that is learned and is probably the greatest tragedy of human development. Because I've led over 300 clown trips. Because of our work, before our work, people would hire a clown to go attend a child in the hospital and do a little show. But now groups of clowns are going in hospitals in 140 countries. And I've taken ages 3 to 82 on these clown trips. Never require any experience, because I know if you look like a nut, straight people will think you're a nut. So you can stand there in your first day of clowning on a clown trip and go, oh my God, I'm no good. They're good. I'm no good. I don't know what to do. I'm just, and people watching them are going, wow, they're really good. Because they're thinking a person with no talent trains himself to have no talent. And so if you dress like a nut and come on a clown trip, you'll fit in. And I'll give you a quick example. 6,000 military vets kill themselves a year, and the government has had no idea what to do. They give them heavy medications and lots of psychiatric diagnoses. But the fact is, it's wrong to go to war. You know, when Vietnam came, because my dad died from war, I said, you can shoot me. I'm having nothing to do with your war. And so I said, well, I'm going to take them on a clown trip. So I raised the funds and I went to vet organization, says, I want 10 of your most suicidal vets. And 10 nuts, 10 clowns took these 10 vets to Guatemala for 1 week. It stopped all their suffering. And still 5 years later, that's how they're feeling. So we collected funds to do it the next year, and the same results, only this time I went to vet organization, said, damn it, give me your most suicidal. I had no worry that in a clown costume, these suicidal vets wouldn't escape it and become, they loved being loved and laughed at and with. And this is really what I've seen. And a clown, you know, in Trinidad, I was asked to clown for 5 men who were hung the next morning for capital crimes. 4 of them loved it. You have to ask yourself, if you're going to be hung in the morning, do you want to chuckle that night? And so kids are just so much easier to play with than adults, because adults bring all their stuff with them. And a lot of kids don't have that stuff. Even really kids from super poor families, and I've been to poverty you cannot imagine, that most of the kids are instantly ready to play, at least up until 9 or 10. We should wrap this up. Okay, Derek is saying I should wrap this up. So do you have some wrapping paper and some ribbons?
We do. But what we have is our eternal gratitude. I could listen to you talk for hours, Patch. I just want to say thank you from deep in my heart for being here with us today.
From all of us.
Okay, wait. My assistant, Derek, bless his heart, because I've chosen never to learn how to use a computer or a smartphone, and I have no idea. So he's why I'm on this with you, because I don't know how the hell to, and I never want to end. I write 400,000 letters to 139 countries. On patchadams.org is my address. Okay, so this is an ask for day. This is, please send donations. So if it doesn't hurt Resiliency Village, I'm going to say, please help me. I'm building this hospital that eliminates 90% of the cost.
Yay.
Please send $5 or $500 or $5,000, whatever it is you can help with. Go to patchadams.org and make a donation, because let's make medicine a beautiful art, the art of medicine. And if you bring the word art, it makes almost anything better. So thank you for your shirt. And please, I'm sorry that somebody doesn't say, well, hell, I'm not going to give to Resiliency Village. I'm going to give to that damn hospital. I apologize if any of those people happen. Hopefully they've left already.
What? Thank you, Pat.
I think we're working on the art of housing, just like you're working on the art of medicine. And I'll feel good about wherever people want to give it. It's maybe two heads of the same being on that one. I can't thank you enough, Patch, and can't wait for COVID times to be over, and maybe we could do this in person.
Yeah. Oh my God, we'll catch diseases. Okay, thank you. And
thank you.
Thank you, Patch Adams. Thank you so much. That was just a romp of joy and fun, and some wisdom and learning as well. What a great evening. I thank you all watching from the bottom of my heart. Those of you in Zoom, those of you watching live on Facebook, and those of you watching after the fact. Patch's organization is linked in the chat for you to visit and follow up with that. It has been an amazing night, and even though we went a little bit longer, I just am filled with joy and hope for our community. I want to thank all of the board of directors of Resiliency Village, all of you. Thank you so much for, they're not getting paid for this. This is an act of service, an act of love, and thank you all so much. And thank you again to Patch Adams. Thank you to all our performers tonight, all of them local, all of them very talented. What a treat to get such a local feel to this very important local cause. And I'm going to, after closing it out and saying my name again, hand it over once again to Mr. Robert Gelman, who really is the director of this event and made it happen. With that, my name is Kevin Axtell, a local juggler and fire performer and magician. I'm sure you've seen me around, and I'm sure you'll see me around again as soon as we're back in person. Until then, I'll hand it over to our show director, the force behind this whole event tonight, the one and only Mr. Robert Gelman.
Ah, shucks, Kevin. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. You are what make this a community, and it's such a beautiful community to be a part of. Kevin has already said what we're grateful for. All of the performers, all of the sponsors, the people who have stepped up and offered gifts that we can share with the community. But this is really just the beginning. We're just getting started. We've got a lot to do, and we're doing it together because we are all in this together. So once again, thank you, one and all. And I think I'll say good night.
All righty. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're just going to put a little bit of music on to close it off. Have a wonderful evening. And thanks for supporting your local community.